fatal thought impact, past painful thoughts. In fact, I blast tasteful thoughts and past. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, whenever we last left off, with this series, quite a bit of things were going on. Aki, in the last part, she has been challenged by her mother. Aki will face off against a warrior her rank. If she fails to defeat this warrior, or if she is killed in combat, she will lose, and she will be forever remembered as a low decale. Now, with that, Aki herself, she was very annoyed by this. She believed that if she is to go into this combat and die, she will still be considered at least a clan leader, and she will be remembered in a very honorable way. However, there is the idea in her mind that her mom will win. Her mom will get her way, and ultimately, this could all be futile, all the effort and training she's been putting into this. And she is at least trying to go into this with the idea that she will come out on top. You do also at least have things with Deku. For Deku, he was handing out Yautja tech blueprints to some scientists, technicians, and, well, mechanics. They were going over these blueprints and all of them were blown away by them. The tech is light years ahead of what anything they can produce on Earth. And it actually is fairly advanced for even the people who have come from the future or the colonist ship now. With that out of the way, you do also at least have the discovery that David is sentient. Now, this was something that not everybody they believed. However, after at least a few more tests and him even going against the laws of robotics, they were trying to get used to that. David right now, he's scared, curious, and, well, full of fear. For the most time he's been quote-unquote sentient, he's thought he was just following orders and stretching them around a little bit. However, discovering that you might actually have free will scared him, and he was trying to grow accustomed to this. As over the next week or so, Deku, he would go up to the Yautja ship with a key. And this is actually kind of strange. A lot of Yautja, when they do look at Deku when he's walking around, they don't recognize him. He's clearly human. And if they are correct, he must be the, well, human Scar. And this is something that many of them, they are curious by. They're wondering how a human could take down a Xenomorph Queen, since a lot of rumors are going around about him right now. Many are talking about how Deku, he is either a elite predator, a predator, or most likely a hunter. And a lot of things are being spread around about him, especially since after only a year or so with the Yautja, he killed a queen. Now, that's things a lot of people they are curious by, since a lot of people want to challenge him. However, a bigger ceremony is being held today, as Aki, the Yautja the Yautja daughter of the Elder, she is going to be facing off against a very strong warrior. Now, this is something that Aki, she is waiting on. And you do have our Deku, after at least going to find a place to have a seat, he does go to bring his mask up and go to connect it to a security camera. As our Deku, he does go to look up and just go to sit back. He does stare through his mask and see the battle right now, as there are multiple drones flying through the air overhead of a room, and this place is a very sacred ground. No one else but the warriors can be in here, and you do actually have Aki. She is sitting down on the ground. She has her legs crossed, and she is wearing the bare minimum. She only has clothes covering her body at the moment. However, they are ceremonial garbs that most warriors they must wear. And Deku, he's never seen a key without weapons or armor. You do actually have the other Yautja, they're currently sitting across from a key as well, and they are waiting for their cue. As you do have Deku, who does go to wait. He hears Yautja, Aki's mother, go to start announcing things, expressing that this sacred form of combat, this is something that they are going to be participating in. This is a battle for honor and for redemption. If either one of these two warriors are to falter or are to die, then they are declared the loser. And the other warrior who is still standing, they are declared as a winner. Not only is this form of combat also at least, well, for different matters, this is how they will be settling the current debate. Deku, he is kind of intrigued by this. He knows that there's a rule within each clan about the clan leaders. If one clan leader is deemed to be too weak, any Yautja can challenge that leader. And if the clan leader is able to be killed in combat, the Yautja who won against the clan leader will be able to take the place. However, if they fail, they'll be turned into a bad blood and spared with dishonor. And that's something that Deku does find to be intriguing. This is apparently another form of, well, topic discussing. It's almost like you're trying to raffle off an idea. If it's a good one, you take it. If it's a bad one, your idea is declined. You essentially just losing. And Deku, he does watch what does happen. As after everything is set up, Aki, she does go to stand. After, she does go to pick up the two weapons that were dropped in front of her. Her going to reach down and grab what appears to Deku to be a strange pair of weapons. He can tell that there are knives currently on each side. However, they're essentially just attached to metal sticks with rings on them. Aki going to bring two of the rings onto her fingers and her going to grab down onto the metal stick, as it only is the length of her palms. And whenever it does get to that, it does actually have a bit small protective guard around the ball of her fist, or only around the area she's holding the metal pieces at. And this is something that Deku does watch, as the blades, they are well on each side, and he can tell that those weapons, they've got a strange appearance. Even the other Yautja has two of them. This is apparently a very small thing to do in combat. Each weapon, it is technically 4 blades, and she's actually going to face a Yautja with these two things? Deku is actually kind of concerned. Akishi has the agility, and these weapons are something that do give her an advantage. However, there's another problem. She has to get in close. She has to get in close enough to strike a Yautja and not be hit by that overwhelming strength. Now, before I do continue this battle, a lot of people were curious to not only Aki's size, but at least the comparison between Deku and even some other Yautja. So, I do at least have this to go over. Now, many people are confused by the size of a Yautja. On average, it is 7 to 8 feet tall. Meanwhile, you do actually have Aki, who I do want to say she is a little over 6 feet. And you do actually at least have Yautja, who is 8.5 feet tall. And you do even have Vadacha, who is about 9 feet tall, so just a little bit more smaller than this current guy right here, since I don't really remember how to pronounce that. Now, with that being said, you do actually have the Yautja Aki is facing, who is about 8 feet tall. And Aki, she does get ready. As whenever both of them are both standing there and have their weapons, Deku, he is actually a bit more concerned. That Yautja, he does have at least some bigger blades, since the size of his weapons are just a little bit larger. And this is something that Deku he does keep in mind when he does watch Aki go to charge forwards with incredible speed. As the other Yautja, he is just staying there. And Aki she does go for her attack. As whenever she does go to try and slash down towards the leg, you do have the Yautja who does go to bring his leg upwards and go to throw his body weight onto one of his legs as he does go to bring his hand down and go to try and slash down towards the key. the Yautja aiming directly for her left shoulder. As whenever a key, she is able to move out of the way, and the Yautja is going to smash his fist into the ground. He is going to try and use his other hand. As a key, she is going to try and block the blade and dodge it. As whenever she is going to bring her blade up, she's only able to maneuver the blade out of the way after it does make contact with her own. The blade sparking, as a key, she is able to dodge out of the way and almost slice herself in her arm with her own blade, since her wrist did have to bend a little too much. And that's something that Akisha does keep in mind. As Naruto is going to back off of the Yautja does go on the advance. It's going directly towards a key with both of the weapons, as it does decide to toss one of them directly at her. And a key, she is going to try and move. As whenever the weapon is directly about to hit her, she is able to bring her hands up and go to try and slash at the weapons by the back. Her being able to knock the weapon in the back as the blades they do turn away from a key, and she is directly struck by this metal bar. And this is something that a key she didn't expect, since she's basically being hit by a weapon with the weight of, let's just say, 25 pounds in the chest. Now, a key, after being hit by this, she does actually have the wind knocked out of her. Yautja running towards her. As a key, she does go to stumble forwards and then go to throw both of her weapons at the Yautja. The weapons spinning and flying through the air as the Yautja is going to try and bring his hand up with one weapon to go to block. Him trying to block both of them, however, he does have to choose between one. Him moving his weapon upwards and being able to block one of the blades flying through the air as the other one does go flying directly into and slash upwards into the Yautja's left shoulder. It's cutting and stabbing directly into the Yautja as he is going to scream out in pain. And you do actually have a key, who she is going to step forwards and grab this Yautja's weapon. Her rushing in as the Yautja, he does go staring at towards the key. As Naruto is going to try and bring her hand backwards with the large weapon, she's going to swing it towards the Yautja as the Yautja does go to counter with his own. As a key, whenever she does go to stare at the Yautja, she does go try and bring her hand up and snap the weapon in half. However, when she does try to do so, you do have where she does actually move the weapon upwards as the Yautja's blade does go flying towards the ground. A key actually then being able to try and slice upwards into the Yautja's body and cut part of his forearm open. And the Yautja, when he does have this happen, he does just go to try and punch downward towards the key. A key going to bring her arm up and block the weapon. As whenever she is struck by the Yautja's arm, she actually isn't flying down into the ground. Her being knocked off of her feet as the Yautja is going to move forwards and towards her. As whenever a key, she is, well, trying to regain her composure, on the ground, she is going to try and move. As the Yautja's weapon, it is going to stab downwards to the part where her face was just at. As she is going to try and move under the Yautja, and then go to try and slash her claws directly into the Yautja's back leg. Her being able to do so as the Yautja does go to spin around and go to kick a key. Him kicking her through the air as she smashed into a wall. And when she does go to get up after falling onto the ground, she does look around. She can see her weapon, and she is going for it. Her running towards her weapon as the Yautjas get ready. He is carefully walking over and going to pick up his other weapon. As he does have both of them, he is charging towards a key. If she only has one of her weapons, she will not last, and this will not do very well. The Yautja, as he does rush towards her, you do have a key who, after getting her weapon, she does turn towards the Yautja. As Marisha is going to bring both of her hands up to grab onto this thing, she does get ready. As the Yautja, he's rushing towards her, a key does get lower and lower to the ground. And the moment he does go to charge one of his hands back and go to slash towards her, a key, she's able to do one thing. She does turn her wrist and go to directly slash at the Yautja's blade. As whenever she does do this, the Yautja's blade, after at least slicing through one of her own, he does slash it directly across part of her forearm, taking off a chunk of meat. And a key, after this does happen, she's going to try and turn her wrist and slash in the Yautja's forearm. Her being able to cut a deep wound across his right forearm, as the Yautja, he does start to at least scream in pain a bit more. And a key, where she's going to spin back around, she's going to directly lash towards the back of the Yautja's large leg. And this is something the Yautja, after at least being stabbed with her claws with, he does go to turn around and see. him going to directly drop his weapon and turn towards Aki as he's going to grab her. The moment the Yautja is going to grab Aki's arm, he is going to pull her and directly rip her arm out of socket. As the moment her arm is dislocated and the Yautja is going to hold her up, he is going to start smashing her down towards the ground. As he does just stare at her and just keep calling her a weak Yautja. And Deku, he is watching this. As you do have where he does go to close his eyes. And go to ball his fist. Aki is going to win this. He knows that she can. Come on, you gotta win this, Aki, come on. Deku, he's trying to resist the urge to run in there. And you do have Aki back in combat. Who, she has to at least have her weapon in her left hand. And she does go to directly bring it upwards and try and slash it into the Yautja's face. As the Yautja is going to bring up his hand, he does go to grab her by her wrist as he does inform her that that's not going to work on him, and that if she is really going to attack him, then she'll have to try better than that. He knew that she was a weak Yautja. However, she is weaker than he expected. You know nothing of me. Really. That arm of yours is quite bad. If you don't get it tended to, you will die. And then there is, well, the arm you're down. If you really think you're going to win against me like this, you're wrong. You got some good damage, and I'll give you that. However, I don't think too much about it. Aki is staring at the Yautja, as it does ask her if she will submit. I will not. Now, Aki, she is staring at the Yautja, as she does go to drop her weapon in her hand. And the moment she does go to try and kick up her knee and stab at least the side of the weapon that's still working into the Yautja's right, well, pectoral. The moment the Yautja does go to at least scream out in pain, Aki, she does go to wait. As the moment the Yautja, it does go to at least release her to go to grab onto both weapons that are in his body, Aki, she does go to move with her left hand. Her going to slice towards the Yautja's throat. As the moment she does slice into it, the Yautja, he is able to back away slightly, and the claws do at least break skin. Only one of those cuts are half as deep as it needs to be, since the Yautja's skin is very durable. Now, this is something that Aki, she does at least look at. She knows that that could have been a lethal blow, and if she does at least work on that, she can kill the Yautja. All she needs is a lucky slice, and then she'll win. Her at least going to fall towards the ground, as the Yautja, after going to reach up, grab the weapons, and at least go to drop both of them to grab towards his throat with one hand, he does go to look down towards Aki. As whenever she is on the ground, she does go to try and turn and grab her weapon. As the large Yautja, it is going to bring its hand, or its large leg backwards, and stomp down to one of Aki's legs. As Aki, she does go screaming out in pain, and at least going to look up towards the Yautja. Her, with her left hand, going to bring it upwards and try and slash into and cut the Yautja's leg. As she does just tear down at it with all her might. Her ripping a solid chunk out of it in at least a few seconds. And the Yautja, after Aki does go to pull at least a few bits out, he does go to bring up his foot. And the moment he does, Aki just go leaping forwards with her good foot and going to grab towards her weapons and try to turn and fight. The Yautja looking down at Aki as he does go to bring back his large foot for another stomp. The moment he does so, Aki does go to bring the piece of her weapon that was cut off earlier. Her being able to stab it upwards into the Yautja's large foot, as she is able to hold onto his foot as the Yautja, after going to push down a considerable amount of weight on it, he does go to bring his foot upwards and go to start stumbling backwards. As Aki, whenever she does stare up towards the Yautja, she does go to grab her weapon. The moment the Yautja does stumble backwards and hit the ground, Aki, after grabbing one of her weapons, she does rush upwards and slice into the Yautja's stomach. Her tearing upwards with one of her weapons, as she does use the one weapon, she does have and drop it. Her dropping it and with all of her force stabbing the two-sided weapon into the Yautja's face. The Yautja, feeling his eye being gouged out, as she just pull back the weapon, and it does have his eyeball. Now, Aki, she is hit directly across the room with the Yautja's left arm, as after being thrown that way, just smashed into the ground. Now, Aki, she is currently laying there, and she is in very bad shape. As you do have where Deku, he's staring at the battle. He doesn't know what to do, or really even what to say. This isn't good. Okay, calm down. Deku really is going to dig his fingertips into his arms, since his nails are currently cutting into his skin with how hard he's holding onto his arm. And Aki, she is laying there on the ground. She knows that it might not be much. However, her is going to stare down her weapon. She can feel that it's cut into a part of her body. And whenever she does go to look down at the eye chunk on it, she does somewhat go to mimic a bit of a smile, since her mandibles, they do move with excitement. Now, Aki, she does go to bring her hand up and go to check her right arm. As whenever she does go to push it back in a socket with a considerable amount of force, she does somewhat go to wince in pain and let out a loud grunt. As whenever she does go to try and move her arm and feel that it's steady, the Yautja is walking towards her. And she can tell it's actually having a bit of trouble. She's been trying to weaken at least parts of its body that are made for movement. And so far, on the lower half, she's done a good amount of damage. So, there's at least the Yautja's vision. She's taken out about 50% of it. If she can get the other eye, she can do it. Along with getting that throat wound, she knows is going to be a bleeder. Now, Aki, she actually is going to try and stand up. The moment she does, she actually is going to put weight onto her bad leg. And the Yautja does notice that she does go to wince and somewhat move down towards the ground, as her kneecap does hit it, that she can't really get too far on that one. And you do have where the Yautja stare at Aki. Her going to bring her weapon up into her mandibles and hold on to it. As she is going to bring her hands down to the ground and start moving on the ground and running with three limbs. On the Yautja, it does watch Aki disappear into its blind spot. As whenever it does go to try and turn, it does try to look for Aki. As the Yautja, after going to look left and then having to move behind her, or move behind him, he does go to try and switch to the other side. The moment he does go to try and turn with a direct punch towards Aki, since he thought that Aki should be in the air, or at least closer to the top. However, that was wrong. Since the moment he did go to try and turn and swing, you did actually have where on his left side, Aki does go to cut into the back of his leg. Her going to sever the Achilles tendon. Now, the Yautja, after feeling this considerable attack, he does just go to throw his weight backwards and try and fall onto Aki. Aki actually seeing the Yautja go to do so, as whenever she does go to jolt to the left, the Yautja, he does go to turn his head and almost see her. Him throwing his hand outwards as he does smash into Aki's hip. And Aki, yeah. After being hit like that, she just gets sent flying onto the ground before trying to stand back up. And you do actually have the Yautja. The damage he's taken is considerable to the one, or at least the amount, Aki has taken. And he himself does attempt to roll over onto his stomach. However, before he can at least go to roll over, you do have where Aki, she's already on top of him. With her weapon, she does go to try and stab downwards in the back of the Yautja's neck. Her pulling back her weapon and going to stab once again. And you do have the Yautja who does go to bring his hand up and go to grab towards the back of Aki's hair. As the moment the Yautja does go to do so, after at least Aki's got 2 or 3 stabs in, he does go to try and pull her off of him. And whenever the Yautja does go to grab Aki's, dreadlocks, and go to pull Aki with her other hand, she does go to bring it upwards and go to slash off not only part of her dreadlocks, but also at least the fingers of the Yautja. As after she does go to start stabbing down more, Deku, he does at least have some relief. As after Aki, she is holding up the Yautja and go to slice his throat, she does look up towards her mother. And Aki's mom, Zacha, she herself isn't too pleased. She is actually very angry. She knows the Yautja who was just killed. He is one she herself has trained before. And this is actually not only somewhat intriguing to her, but it also is at least somewhat wrong. Aki should not have won. That is something that she does know. And this is something that's strange to her. And there also is one more thing. Whenever the battle is over and Akisha is going to drop down onto one of her knees, she does at least go to roll for the Yautja's body. Her laying on the ground, as you do have whenever the robots did go to leave. And Zacha, she was going to announce that the winner is her daughter Aki. And the current debate is over. This being something that everybody, they do at least go to look towards each other. Since they can tell by the tone in her voice, this clearly isn't the outcome she wanted. Now, Deku, after the Yautja are both taken to different places, he does at least start to get a bit worried. Since while the Yautja, his body is disposed of in the way the most traditional Yautja would, a burial ceremony, you do actually have a key. She is taken to the med bay. And she actually is in a test tube. Whenever Deku, he does go to walk in and ask if Aki is doing better. As whenever Deku, he does at least go to see a Yautja, he does stare at them kind of weird for a second, since they aren't in any traditional outfit he's seen for a Yautja. Excuse me, who are you? You must be Scar. Yes, I am. And who are you? I am the doctor. Okay, so what's going on here? She's put in the medical facilities. This will help her heal faster. It'll be a few hours, but she should be fine. I assume that you are the fellow clan leader for her. Yes, I am. Interesting. I've never seen a human speak Yautja before. To be fair, most humans don't live if they speak Yautja. Touché. Well, it's quite fascinating. I do have a question. Okay. Have you come in contact with Yautja blood before? Like, what do you mean? I mean, have you got any in your mouth or any open wounds? Yeah, I think so. Why? Because it is something curious to me. Well, actually, I did get some in my wounds a few days ago. Interesting. Was this the bad blood in your planet? How do you know about that? Because it's my job to know. Well, along with that, many Yautja they do know as well. We were told and informed by Vadicha, the elder of the other clan, to at least look into this area a bit more. If there are bad bloods up and about in this area of space, we need to know about it. Because this is our mothership after all. I see. So, okay. Yautja blood in my wounds. Why are you asking me this? Because it's under my understanding that Yautja blood does help increase certain traits in different species. I'm sorry, how do you know about that? It's quite simple. We've had a case before in the past with humans, when they were still around, about this study. It was found that a human once killed a Yautja before they could set off their bomb. However, after more close observation on the human, and recovery of his corpse as well as much tech, it seemed that he was starting to display certain traits. Certain traits? Yes, his body seemed to be producing Yautja chemicals, if you do want to put it that way. It appeared that his body was adapting to the blood. And this means... Okay. Yautja blood essentially acted like a booster. It not only increased the human's speed and durability along with possible strength enhancements, we believe that humans who have the Yautja blood, or have been exposed to it, they become stronger. Oh, so like a super soldier serum. I'm sorry, a what? It's something that we make up on Earth. Your human government made super soldiers. Well, I mean, they could have. I don't know what they did in the future, but let me explain. Deku was sitting the man down, and after at least explaining a few different types of super soldier serum, the man at least does go to agree. This term will be used accurately, since that's essentially what he believes could have happened to Deku. Hmm? Really? Yes. In fact, I think you might show Yautja characteristics. Like what? Well, increased aggression for one. That explains a lot. Oh, how long have you been exposed? I don't know. I know I battled some Yautja back whenever I was being hunted, and that was almost 2 years ago. Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. Would I be allowed to take a blood sample? With your permission, of course. Sure. Yautja at least going to take some of Deku's blood. And after seeing that his blood is still red, he is kind of intrigued. He may have expected a mutation, possibly, but there was none. And after the Yautja is running these tests for a few hours, you do actually have over with Deku, where he is waiting on the ship. And where he does actually meet Jucha. Whenever Deku, he was actually training with a few different Yautja, and at least battling some of them to pass the time. You do have where after a Yautja is flung across the room and smashes into a wall, where Zadicha, she does go to walk in. As Deku does go to turn into the large Yautja, he does at least go to throw himself down with everybody else. And the elder, she just going to walk up towards Deku and stare at him. As she has asked the human Scar if he is passing time while her daughter is healing. Yes, elder. I myself have been doing some training with your troops. Really? And what have you shown my people? Her going to turn towards Yautja, asking a few questions as the Yautja does go to answer back to her that this one has been showing remarkable strength and speed. And he actually is very interesting for a human. Hmm. Really? Yes. Elder, I actually do have a question. Do you know what a neomorph is? Hmm? I do not. What exactly would that be? This creature is one we discovered on our planet. A neomorph. Neo. Is this related to the xenomorph? In a way, yes. We can exchange information. Or at least you can take this as a gift. Hmm. I would rather change information. I will not take a gift from a human. Okay. I was curious. Would you be willing to share some medical knowledge? Really? And exactly where did you get this information from? I got it from my scientist. A second, well, corpse. It has been given to Vadicha. Really? And exactly what would I get for this information? Vadicha would most likely add it to the Yautja records. And I would be given access to the information anyway. Hmm. I understand. However, it is to my understanding you have medical facilities that are capable of regrowing a lot of tissue. Yes, exactly what are you getting behind this? I would like to offer a trade. If we are to know more about these facilities that allow you to heal rapidly, we would also at least like to try a project. A project? And what interest would this project be to me? How about a creature exactly like the xenomorph, but without, well, secondary mouth and acidic blood? It's less dangerous than a xenomorph, but still very dangerous for a creature. Especially because, from what I understand, it has a shark-like jaw that dislocates. Hmm? dislocation. Interesting. And this creature is what exactly? I believe it to be where the xenomorph spawned from, where it evolved from. A lot of Yautja staring at Deku, as Deku he does try to keep his voice relatively steady. As the Yautja in front of him just stared down at Deku, asking if he really would like this information. Yes, I would. Interesting. We will give you access to certain records. However, if you do want the blueprints to those things, you will have to listen to me. Zicha, I will politely decline. Now, Zicha, she does look at Deku kind of confused. As Deku, he does tell her. He knows the type of games she will, at least, try to play. He understands the way she does think about her daughter. However, he will not be a part of such games. He is offering a trade that will be beneficial. She will gain access to a new creature, one that is not only genetically close to the xenomorph, but more than likely would allow them to research and discover more about them. Not only is this considered to be a quote-unquote missing link, it is also something that they have never seen before, so he believes that that much in its value is already stated enough. Unless she does want to wait for Vadacha to start handing out the records, which would most likely be whenever he does feel like it. Last time he did check clans, they don't have to exchange information unless more things are involved, or unless they are trying to either collaborate or figure out different hunting spots for each clan themselves. Now, this is something that Zacha, or Zicha, she just looked at Deku with. She understands exactly how that man does operate, and she herself does know these things. However, the fact that Deku knows them annoys her. And Deku, he does just go to put the offer back on the table. Him explaining that he will not go against Aki's trust, because that would be going against the trust of Zadacha and herself. Really? By trusting you, I betrayed two people. So, I won't do it. Human, you are an interesting one. You know a lot more about our ways than I give you credit for. I know a lot, Zadacha. Or Zicha. Have I been saying Zadacha the whole time? Anyways, if I have been, I'm sorry. Now, Zicha, she has to stare at Deku, explaining to him that this offer will be one she will be thinking about. Since it is an interesting one, she will give him that. However, if the ship is not in the higher atmosphere whenever they do leave, then he will have to consider that their answer. And if he doesn't receive any messages and or at least communications, then take that as another answer as well. I will. Thank you. Her going to turn and walk away. As whenever Deku and Aki they do leave the ship, Zucha she does stick around for a bit. She is thinking about this offer. And she is also at least trying to go over many things she herself wants to know. She does want to contact Vadacha. However, if she contacts that man for information, this will be another form of, well, let's just put it as disrespect. She does admire that human's tenacity and the fact that he is confrontational, something most humans try to avoid with a Yautja. And with the fact that he himself has been around long enough around their species, she understands that he himself it must be a powerful warrior. Now, with that being said, we do cut over to Deku and Aki, where after Deku he was able to get Aki back onto his ship, he got her somewhere where she can sit down and relax. As whenever he does ask her about her injuries, she does at least express that she should be fine, However, with the fact that she had to cut part of her dreadlock, she will be annoyed with that for a bit of time, but she should be okay. Really? Yes, Scar. I should be fine, but the battle did wear me down quite a bit. Shoulder still hurts, and so does my forearm. Along with that, my hip does hurt pretty bad. Well, I mean, you're still alive. Deku walking over to Ki and bring his forehead up to hers, expressing that he's quite happy that she won her battle. Thank you, Scar. Deku pulling his head back, expressing that he tried to make a deal with her mother about exchanging information for information. Scar, you didn't. What? You didn't agree to anything she asked, did you? No. I noticed she was going to ask me for, well, essentially to spy on you. I declined. I told her plainly, my offer stands and she doesn't take it, that's all she's getting. And I'm fairly certain that she will take it. I'm asking for information about those medical pods. Even some of the science you guys have access to. If we get it, it can greatly improve people down there. Hell, even the doctors might be able to find different things to do with it. But it's interesting, though. This process of genetic, well, birth, you could say. You guys use the pods for that. But at the same time, it's effective because no one's essentially lazing around to wait. But I am curious. Have any of you guys tried cloning before? Cloning? Yes. It's a process where you clone a creature or copy its DNA to make another thing, like two of one person. Not that I know of. As far as I'm aware, that is outlawed for Yautja. For Yautja? Well, we're kind of the only ones out here. And if anyone was doing it, I'm fairly certain we know. Really? Yes, Scar. However, I think I should just rest right now. I'm very tired. Those pods, they take up quite a considerable amount of energy just to keep you alive. But the progress with healing is ultimately a good result. Her going to at least hold up one of her wounds, as Deku can tell that it's almost scarred over, but it will still take more time to heal. And this is something that Deku, he is intrigued by, since that looks like about, what, a month of recovery for a large wound? That is pretty fast for one day. Now, with that being said, Deku, he does leave a key to her devices, and she herself does go to get comfortable, since she is exhausted. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.